The Tower of Babel. Hello and welcome to our video about the Tower of Babel. Today, we will explore the fascinating story of when, at the dawn of humanity, everyone spoke a single language and united to build a tower that reached the heavens. In this narrative, we will see how the pride and self-sufficiency of men led them to try to challenge the limits imposed by God, resulting in the confusion of languages and the dispersion of peoples. We will reflect on the profound lessons this story teaches us about the importance of humility, the recognition of our divine dependence, and the dangers of placing our trust solely in ourselves. If you value content that connects us with the great lessons of the Bible and makes us ponder our own journey, don't forget to leave your like, subscribe to the channel, and activate the bell so you don't miss any video. Let's go! At the dawn of humanity, when everyone spoke a single language and shared the same understanding, men decided to unite for a great undertaking. On the vast plain of Shinar, they chose to build a city and, at its center, a tower that would reach the heavens. It was a grand project, a monument to their own ability, a milestone that would ensure they were never scattered across the face of the earth. Their hearts were filled with self-confidence, for they believed that together they could conquer the heavens and perpetuate their names for generations. They wanted to be remembered, to be immortal through their work. For them, this construction was not just a symbol of unity, but also a testament to their own greatness and mastery over creation. They desired to be the architects of their own destiny, free from the limitations and dependencies of the divine, and they dreamed of a future where their mark would be eternal. They learned to mold bricks and use bitumen as mortar, replacing natural stones with their own creations. In doing so, they demonstrated that human intelligence could overcome the limitations imposed by nature. They did not wait for divine gifts, but relied on their ingenuity to erect something that challenged established boundaries. The work was arduous, but the determination of each one propelled them to continue. Day after day, their hands carried bricks, raised walls, and drew plans with precision and fervor. The project leaders reinforced the importance of teamwork, reminding everyone that this was the only way to ensure a secure and unified future for humanity. And so, amid sweat and hope, the men believed they were building not only a physical structure but also an immortal legacy. However, without realizing it, they were diverting their hearts toward a purpose far from God, seduced by the illusion that they could rise without acknowledging the source of all life. The tower, more than a construction, came to symbolize a mentality of self-sufficiency, a desire for glory that replaced reverence for the Creator. They did not merely want to survive, they wished to prove that they no longer needed God to prosper, that they were masters of their own destiny, forgetting that all true greatness is born from recognizing our smallness before the infinite. But God, who sees beyond appearances, contemplated the hearts of men and perceived the danger of this unbridled ambition. He knew that unity around a wrongful purpose could lead to limitless arrogance, distancing them further from reliance on Him. In their relentless pursuit of control and dominion, human beings risked forgetting their origin, their essence, and, above all, their need for an intimate relationship with the Creator. Thus, He decided to intervene to prevent men from becoming even more lost in their own pride. If they continued on this path, believing they could achieve fullness by their own merits, they would end up distancing themselves from the true meaning of life. For man was not made to exalt himself above God, but to live in harmony with Him, acknowledging His sovereignty and love. This deviation, driven by pride, is like a road that takes us away from home and leaves us vulnerable to the storms of existence. With a single act, God confused their languages. Suddenly, what was once perfect understanding became a tangle of incomprehensible words, as if the very air had filled with noise. Requests and commands began to sound like disconnected sounds, and cooperation, once so harmonious, turned into frustration and chaos. What had been a great community united by a single ideal crumbled into confusion and misunderstanding. The work ceased, the hands that once raised bricks now gestured without being able to understand each other. The path that once seemed secure for immortality revealed itself to be a project doomed to failure. expressions of confidence gave way to fear and insecurity. The unity that had held them together vanished, leaving them immersed in the uncertainty of a future without direction. Those who once worked together now saw each other as strangers, unable to communicate their thoughts and feelings, as if the very essence of communication had been diluted. With no alternative, the men began to disperse. They were forced to abandon the unfinished city, scattering across various lands and forming distinct peoples and cultures. Thus, the diversity of nations and languages was born, a living reminder of the human attempt to achieve greatness without God's presence. The place became known as Babel, for there the Lord confused the languages of the earth and dispersed them. The city that was meant to be a symbol of unity transformed into a landmark of human fragility, of the illusion that it is possible to build an empire without the Creator. What was meant to be a monument to eternity became a ruin exposing the vanity and ephemerality of human achievements. The dream of immortality and power, raised with such effort, ended up revealing itself as a warning to us all. Without God, every construction, no matter how grand it may seem, is doomed to collapse. If you are enjoying this video, please leave your like, share it with your friends, and comment below with your thoughts. The story of the Tower of Babel is not merely a tale from the past, but a mirror reflecting human nature in its purest form. How many times do we find ourselves building our own towers, projects driven by pride and the desire to assert ourselves before the world? Like the ancient builders, we try to erect monuments to our intelligence, our strength, and our success, believing that in doing so we will ensure our permanence and relevance. But, just as in Babel, any endeavor that does not have God as its foundation is subject to collapse, for that which is done without Him cannot endure. What appears solid may crumble, and what seems promising can turn into chaos, for nothing built on pride lasts truly. Babel teaches us that true security does not lie in the work of our hands, but in the constant presence of God in our journey, guiding us even when everything seems to fall apart. The diversity of languages and cultures, once seen as a punishment, has over time revealed itself to be an invaluable blessing. Instead of a monolithic humanity, distinct peoples emerged, each with its own expressions, traditions, and cultural riches. This multiplicity shows us that God, even when correcting our excesses, does so with a greater purpose, creating opportunities for growth and learning. The fragmentation of humanity led to the multiplication of creativity, the emergence of various forms of art, thought, and knowledge. What began as forced dispersion transformed into a mosaic of experiences that enrich human existence in a unique way. God did not destroy the men at Babel. He scattered them so they might flourish, learn to depend on Him, and allow each culture to express, in its own way, the grandeur of divine creation. This diversity is a legacy that, despite the initial disorder, has brought an invaluable richness to the world. Even today, we face the temptation to build new towers of Babel in our lives, investing too much in our own wisdom and forgetting that every true achievement must be founded on God. We may seek security in our accomplishments, in power, or in the recognition of others, but none of that will provide the real stability that only a sincere relationship with the Creator can offer. We try to control our future, avoid pain, and erect fortresses of security, but in the end, we discover that without God, everything is unstable and fleeting, able to vanish in an instant. The story of Babel invites us to reflect deeply on where we have placed our trust. Do we rely on our own deeds, or do we deposit our faith in the will of God? Only He can give us an unshakable foundation, capable of withstanding all the storms of life. Therefore, Babel remains an eternal reminder that without God, our greatest efforts can turn into confusion and frustration. Yet, at the same time, it teaches us that even when we're, God is always present, transforming our failures into new opportunities for growth. True greatness does not reside in building towers that touch the heavens, but in constructing a life founded on faith, humility, and obedience to Him who rules over all the earth. Only when we recognize our complete dependence on God can we achieve the fullness we so desire, for it is in that surrender that we find strength, peace, and renewal. Contemplating this story challenges us to examine our own projects and ambitions. Are we trying to build towers of pride in our lives, or are we seeking the true wisdom that comes from communion with the divine? Every decision, every effort, must be seen in the light of our need to depend on God. When we place our plans above the divine will, we risk losing the harmony and purpose that only He can provide. Babel dramatically reminds us that self-sufficiency is an illusion and that true fulfillment lies in recognizing that our destiny is intertwined with that of the Creator. May this narrative inspire us to pursue a path of humility, where every achievement is tempered with gratitude and every project is built on faith. Let us learn to value not only the outcome of our efforts, but also the process of depending on and trusting in the divine. Ultimately, the Tower of Babel is an invitation to reflect on the fleeting nature of human pride and on the enduring beauty of a life built with God's presence as its foundation. Every step we take should be guided by the certainty that true strength and security come from Him who created and sustains us every moment. After exploring the grandeur and deep lessons of the Tower of Babel, we see how unchecked pride and self-sufficiency can distance us from true greatness, a greatness that is only achieved by recognizing our dependence on God. This story invites us to reflect on the importance of building our lives with humility and faith, reminding us that our greatest efforts only have meaning when they are grounded in obedience to the Creator. May we learn from Babel, avoid the perils of pride, and value the diversity that enriches us. If this message has touched your heart, please leave your comment sharing what you have learned. Share this video with your friends so that more people can reflect on this lesson, and of course, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and activate the bell to receive our upcoming content. Thank you, and see you next time.